Welcome to Module 2, where we'll dig a little further into innovation. We survived Module 1, hopefully, our introduction to innovation. I'm going to push a little further into what I call the culture of innovation and trying to understand what really distinguishes those organizations. It's not by chance, there's some characteristics, and hopefully there's things that we can adapt to, might be able to mimic in our own operations at work and our own organizations. And then next week, our modules will start moving us further into project management in hopes that we can implement some of these innovations. So I left you last week with this concept that we could divide innovations into two very general groups. I called it the Tale of Two Cities, and one is those process innovations and the other one is the product innovations. And certainly many of our organizations have the opportunity to innovate the services and the products that we're providing to our customers. But aside from that, we don't want to lose sight of those process innovations that can also be valuable to our organizations. So I put in there 3 questions just to get us thinking about this. One is, what is the driver? What's the motivation? What is our organization trying to accomplish? Are we trying to grow our market share? Are we trying to grow our bottom line? Are we concerned with our long-term viability of the organization? Competition? Are they changing the marketplace? Those types of things. What's the issue that we're trying to address that strategically will reshape us for the future? Second, what is the enabler? What are the unique resources or capabilities that our organization possesses that will allow us to take action on those? Or more so, what are we missing that we might need to acquire, whether that's knowledge or abilities or cultural transformation in order to take advantage of these innovations? I call it the how. How are we going to do this? And some organizations may see the innovation that they would like to implement, but because of their own DNA, will be incapable of doing that without first addressing the DNA issue. And the third question I put out there for us is, what is the goal? And certainly that overlaps with what's the driver, but when I say what is the goal, I really want to move us towards what's a measurable outcome so that we can know post-innovation whether we were successful or not. And that's often a shortcoming. When we go to innovate, we know we want to gain market share, but how much do we want to gain? We want to change our bottom line, how much? We want to implement some new technology that'll decrease our cost structure. And we should go into that knowing how much. We'll address that a little bit more on the project management side, but even here on the front end when we're talking about innovation, we always need to be considering what is the outcome we're trying to achieve, and specifically, measurably, how will we know if we were successful or not? So across all organization types, innovation matters. For-profit organizations, certainly at a product level and a process level, very important to be creating those new values. And the video that I've selected for you this week from YouTube, TEDx, really gets at the heart of that. It's from a for-profit focus, but it can be converted to other situations as well. Governmental, we might say, well, what would possibly be the value of them being innovative? They already own all the market share. I think that's where we're really looking at not only product but process innovation that will allow services to be delivered at a better value, services that are of greater value to the constituency, and when those services are delivered at a lower cost, we have the benefits of lowering the tax rate or using those same resources for other benefits to our constituency. From a volunteer standpoint, think about your own volunteer organizations, your own social organization, whether that's the Elks or the Moose or a fraternity or whatever that might be on campus-wise, is can they innovate? What would be the benefits for them to innovate, for being innovative, to use new technologies in how they reach their constituency? And then finally, non-governmental organizations, or what many of us would call not-for-profit or non-profit organizations, how can they benefit from innovation? Certainly, if they can make that dollar go further by being more efficient. And I think that moves us in many ways back to a process innovation, but we, at this point, don't want to lose sight of the product or the service innovation. Can they deliver services to their beneficiaries in a new way? meeting a new emerged need. So I think we can't preclude innovation from any of these contexts. So regardless of your current work situation or the situation where you plan to be moving towards, innovation needs to be a part of that. And certainly as we move into the next module, project management needs to be as well. Organization culture, I mentioned, that's a culture of innovation. I lifted this with proper citation. Larson and Gray is the textbook that we're going to be using in the project management portion, and they drew in this Deal and Kennedy piece. An organization is a system of shared norms, beliefs, values, and assumptions which binds people together, thereby creating shared meaning. So that should cut across all of those organization types, whether it's profit or nonprofit or organizational, a social or whatever it might be. So that culture or that DNA is unique for each organization. It's part of its history, it's part of its people that are involved, it's part of its stakeholders. There's a lot of things that go into that magic recipe. Defining characteristics, we could probably list any organization in a very specific way. Even if you look across the United States and look at the Elks Lodges across the United States, each one would have slight variations, even though they run on the same goals, the same structure and so forth. Each instance has its own unique personality because of its local membership, its own history, its local competition, and so forth. So keep those in mind. And then a final item that I want you to keep in mind is that enablers or disablers of innovation in an organization. What makes it possible for your organization to innovate? What prevents you from being innovative? And I hope the video that I have for you this week actually helps you answer a lot of those questions. What I've selected is called The Art of Innovations by a fellow named Guy Kawasaki. He was a huge player in Apple. He's a venture capitalist. He's advisor to Google, so he is at the heart of innovation. I saw this YouTube video a few years ago, and then just last year I was able to attend a conference where he was the keynote speaker. It doesn't differ much when you see him live as opposed to when you see it on YouTube, but it is neat to hear him give it. He made very little change to it when I saw it in the live version. He's going to provide a top 10. I've put them out here just so you can see them. You probably should scribble those into your notes or possibly keep this in mind. He's going to build these out. I'm not going to explain them because he does a far better job than me explaining them. And his top 10, just because he can, he even adds an 11th one to us. And I really hope you can glean a lot of perspectives from what Guy has to say. What I would also like to do, though, is even when we look at someone who's an expert, as Guy Kawasaki is, and I don't think anyone would argue that he doesn't bring a lot to the table when it comes to transforming an organization and truly being innovative. But it's not the end-all, be-all. What is this he's given us in this top 10/11? Is it a scorecard? Is it a checklist? Do we need all of these in order to be successful? What are we supposed to do with this? Are these universal truths? Are they true in every organization, in every situation? What is the application? But I assure you that there is something we can do with this. And so I'll leave you the question as you're watching this: what actions can I take? What can I take away from this that will actually make a difference? So we've got a few things going on. We certainly have this video, which is a prominent piece of this week. There'll be a discussion board assignment out of that. There's a few specific questions I want you to address that are listed in the online materials guide. And then I have a few articles for this week I want you to read, and there are a few questions that you'll need to answer and submit those to me using a Word or PDF documents. So 2 big deliverables this week, and then we'll roll into project management next week. Have a great week.